I'm here with composer, lyricist, songwriter, Michael Mott. Thank you so much for stopping by. Second time we're doing an interview. The first was right when your first album that you actually have here came out.
Where the Sky Ends.
Yeah, look at that.
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Who's
a
that
long
boy?
time.
I don't even know.
And now you have so many projects coming up for 2019. Before we get to that, why don't you, for people who hadn't seen the original interview, talk a little bit about how you came into music. I know you went to school for theater art in the first place, but take us on that journey.
So I was originally inspired by Saturday Night Live. I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to be a cast member on SNL. That was my dream. I used to make my own SNLs in my basement. My poor mother, let me convert the entire basement to like different studio spaces. And I was the cool kid who hired all of his friends in school to no, they're my actual friends to
I was gonna say, wait, you hired people as your friends?
Yeah,
or you
I paid for my friendships. Yeah. No, I hired my friends to film our own SNLs in my basement, and I would write a script every week. Yeah, and it was a moment, and I would film these skits, and I had a teacher in high school who said, you know, you really have to expand your horizons, and you need to audition for the High School Musical. And so I did. I got into the High School Musical. It was Sound of Music, my very first role ever, and my life was changed, and I decided to go into the theater, and I majored in it in college, and I was a performing actor for 7 years. I did national tours, off-Broadway, regional theaters, and I decided in 2012 that I wanted to shift my focus to writing. And so I applied to the BMI Layman Angle Musical Theater Writers Workshop, got in, and my life kind of just changed from there. The stars aligned, and everything kind of just happened the way that I think it was meant to happen, and I've never looked back. and I do get to perform still, because I do my Michael Mott and Friends concert series all over the world now. I've been doing all over the country, but as of next year it'll be all over the world.
That's right.
And I get to be a ham at the piano. I get to play the piano, I get to sing, I get to host, and I get to tell jokes, and I get to just be who I am. And it's my performing background, but I don't have to, you know, have someone script and say the line. I don't have to do that anymore.
You're mixing both worlds, both of your loves.
Yeah, yeah, and I get to put all of my heart into this because it's my full creativity.
And now, since we last spoke, you had a second album come out called Abandoned Heart.
Yes. How convenient is this?
Well, look at that. You have
Abandoned Heart. Yes.
And who's that on the cover?
This is who I am now. No, I'm kidding. I've always been. No, it's still me. But you know, this is the.
This is the more heartthrob of you, the Abandoned Heart one.
This is the more like contemporary, edgy. Because this is more of a pop album, and this is a more theatrical album.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I still am I am innately a theater writer. I write theatrically. Is what it is. I can't help that.
Yeah.
So that's just my style. And so even though it's more pop, it's still theatrical pop.
Right.
Yeah.
How did the second album come about?
Funnily enough, it's been a long day, so I'm on my fourth coffee of the day.
Something a little stronger, you'd be slurring it even worse.
Well, listen, I had an espresso earlier, so just to like. The success of the first album from social media led me to a major record label, and they called me in, and I was asked to write songs for particular artists, and I did. And for one reason or another, the songs did not end up on the artist's album, from an album being canceled to not being a big enough name, you name it. So I had all these songs, and I thought, this is a different side of me, but I'm really proud of these songs, so I wish I could put them out. And I did an online, like a fan-driven fundraising campaign, and we raised the money. And I tailored the songs to different talent in the Broadway and theater community, and rewrote the songs and kind of tailored them to each singer, and put out Abandoned Heart. And we did a bunch of remixes that came out. We shot 2 music videos for the actual album, Love in Stereo and Single City. And then since, I don't even remember, maybe January, February of this year, we started releasing remixes. So I have 6 remixes of songs from this album, and they're all everywhere music is sold, you can get IDs. And each remix has like 6 different versions, between 3 and 6 different versions. So they're like perfect for the gym.
Yeah.
It's got a great warm up, great cool down. You know, get your heart rate
start
up.
selling them in gyms.
Well, listen.
A little marketing there?
Listen, when I do my Michael Mott and Friends concerts, we do sometimes we'll do the original song and then go into the remix, and it's whatever. It's just like it's fun. I love making music in any style, any genre, and I will always do that no matter what. And so it's nice when people respond to that. When I can see a lot of people like don't know that I do that,
Right.
and so they'll come to the concerts and they'll be like, "What is he doing? What's happening?" And like I'll say, "I have remix CDs," and then I'll look at the sales and they like spike for a little bit, after the concert. So it's fun to just do new things and not be predictable with the same style.
Now, I think I know the answer to this question before I ask it, but this is your interview, so I'm going to ask it. What pop star or not necessarily pop star would you want to write for? Who do you really have a hankering to write with?
Oh, well, if anyone knows anything about me, I would love to write with Mariah Carey. She writes all of her own stuff, so it would have to be us in a room together. She wouldn't just take a song and sing it. So, that would be a dream come true. I would love to do that.
That's awesome.
And especially I would love to do a Christmas song with her, because I think she's kind of put her stamp on the Christmas
absolutely.
brand, and she does these Christmas shows all over the world every year, and she has 2 Christmas albums, and I think that there's a lot of room for theatricality in that. And if you listen to her Christmas albums, that Mark Shaman did the last one, and it's amazing. And there's a lot of theater. You can hear theater in that, and so I think that would be a good match for us.
We're really coming up against the deadline for this year. You might
well,
you might want to do next year.
I've been having an idea for the last 2 years for some Christmas stuff, but it's always budget. It always comes down to budget. Who's going to fund it?
Right.
And I'm talking to several people about different projects, but it just the right person has to come in, the right person has to fund them. I have 3 projects that we're trying to get off the ground right now, and it just always comes down to budget. So
the root of all evil, right? Money.
Money, seriously. If money wasn't a thing, I feel like everyone would just that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
then we'd all be exploding everywhere, because. But
now 2019 is going to be a big year for you as well. You have you're actually in the process of 4 projects, but 2 of the projects are actually for sure coming out in 2019. Why don't you talk about the first one, which is being staged overseas?
Yes. So I have a show called Mob Wife, a mafia comedy instead of a musical comedy, for those who get the joke. Right now it's called that, so we'll see. It is an original show that is sort of like, we explain it like The Sopranos meets Noises Off with a 1970s soundscape. So it's very fun, very quick-witted humor. It's my Italian hometown mafioso Italian humor. And it's happening, it opens at the Cockpit Theatre in London, January 24th. And I will be overseas, my first time overseas, actually.
You're going to be doing some concerts, right?
I'm doing a Michael Mott and Friends over there, opening night. So after the show, I'll do like a mini set, like a 5-song set. And I'm teaching a couple master classes, and so I'm really excited about Mob Wife. You can go to the Cockpit Theatre, their website, and check it out for tickets. We're doing Skype sessions because they just did their first table read the other day, and myself and Corey Skaggs, who's the book writer, we're learning so much about the show, hearing them do it, and we're making changes and rewriting. And I'm writing 2 new songs. I hope to have them in the show. I will have them in the show by January. So I'm excited about that.
Exciting. And then your second project?
My second project is a show I've been working on for a long time as well, but really this version of it we've been working on for about 3.5 years. It's called In the Light, A Faustian Tale, and that is an original musical as well with book writer Nathan Wright. And we are doing an industry presentation in early January, which you're getting the exclusive information because this is not announced yet. I texted the producers today and I asked them, what can I say? And they said, you can't talk about the cast, but you can tell them that we're in the process of casting and it's happening early next year.
Interview number 3 will be
There we go, yes. So come to me in February and I'll tell you everything.
I will.
If we raise the money to bring it in to New York.
All right, people, you got to donate. If you're watching this, send some money. I'll pass it along, don't worry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So when you made that transition over to acting, from acting to songwriting, kind of haven't looked back, but you mentioned you are very theatrical.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hello.
Is your, you can't tell.
I'm trying to tone it down for the camera, but you put me on stage, I'm like,
What would be a dream musical for you to write to be on Broadway? Do you have an idea? Or you already started it?
In the Light is my
In the
dream
Light is your
musical.
dream musical,
Because
Broadway?
we've put, I mean, everyone involved in that creative team. It is the most spectacular creative team I've ever worked with, and everyone is an A-list from the people working on it. Jeff Whiting, the director, Nathan Wright, the book writer, Kim Scharnberg, the orchestrator, Andy Einhorn, the music supervisor, who's, I mean, all these people are just amazing people. Joshua Zechariah, the musical director, everyone on that team, and then the cast. Like, when you hear the cast, it is just an amazing group of people, and the entire show is written, it's like an opera. The entire show is pretty much underscored and scored. I've never been more proud of something. It's a ton of work, but
Right.
it is my passion, my dream.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. You're gonna have a
That's my show.
have a big year.
And if I can write
2019.
that, I feel like when I look at when I was watching Mob Wife, and I was like, oh, because they're apples and oranges.
Right.
When I was like, oh, I can write this song and before January. You know, they're just so completely different. So yeah.
What do you do in your downtime? If you doesn't sound like you have much more than 30 seconds.
Well,
to-
I'll tell you this. Next week, the Boston Pops is premiering a song I wrote, a Christmas song for Laura Osnes called "Christmas Will You Stay."
Wow.
And she's singing it with the Boston. We've done it live a couple times, but the Boston Pops is
Yeah.
playing it, and that's like, to me, that's the premiere.
that little high school band.
Yeah, exactly. And so Laura's singing it, and for my downtime, I'm traveling to Boston,
Nice.
sitting there, and I'm weeping. That's to hear that massive orchestra
Yeah.
play that song, and that's available as well.
Are you taking Amtrak? You might want to leave today, so you make sure you get up there on time.
Probably, yeah. I know, right? I know.
Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to do
Thank
this interview.
you.
It's been a real pleasure to interview you again, and I look forward to the third in 2019.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're always wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.